Another good question that came in from one of our viewers was, how can a small company afford an employee assistance program? Tallahassee Memorial has 3,500 employees. It's a very, very large organization, it's very professional, and so they have a top-notch employee assistance director in Malvina. How can a small company hope to start in and get this focus going?
That's a fantastic question. Small businesses throughout our community and other communities often do have an EAP, and if they don't have one, there's a local vendor who specializes in providing those services. And I think employers are very surprised at the fact that they can afford the program. Mm-hmm. And I like to say that they cannot afford not to have one, in that, as David and we're talking about, those individual employees with performance problems, EAPs for 40 years have demonstrated a return on investment in that they are able to help those employees return to adequate or sometimes exemplary performance.
Well, in talking to David and Diane, it sounds like the American Psychological Association, its website, and it has resources and ways of also for small businesses to get in touch. And am I right on that? That you can kind of give them some direction.
Yeah, the website of the Psychologically Healthy Workplace Program, which is just phwa.org, has lots of resources for employers and those who work with employers to put these kinds of practices in place. There are many different case examples from employers, large, small, for-profit, not-for-profit, even government, military, and educational institutions. So any kind of organization can create a healthy workplace, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. There are times small things that are very inexpensive or free that can be done that can improve the workplace.
And I would like to...
And I would also add to that, sometimes I think small companies don't have the financial resources or even the personnel to do things like a large company does. So they don't have a formal human resources department, but they could hire a psychologist who's trained in that area or a consultant who's trained in those areas who has that particular knowledge. And for a minor amount of money, have huge amounts of benefits at having that person as a consultant or available should their employees need it, sort of as a mini EAP program.
And let me, as the EAP expert, also direct people to, there's an International Professional Association of EAP Professionals, and that is eapassn.org. And there are all kinds of resources located there. You can also find a local vendor of EAP services, and talks about the special certification process for a professional that demonstrates an understanding of workplace dynamics.
We're here in the capital of Florida, the state capital, Tallahassee, so we have a question, but I think it might apply across the country. You're talking about small businesses and private business, but what about employee recognition as it pertains to state employees or government employees? Here in Florida, the state employees have been suffering from lack of raises and to some extent lack of recognition. Can public workplaces and large government agencies benefit from this, and how do they start in? Because it's just as important, in all levels of our
Right. It's not just about raises. It's not just about money. In fact, in our organization, it was not the money that motivated our staff. It truly is the involvement of staff. So giving staff a voice, knowing people by name, encouraging people to participate in activities within your organization. We have activities that are as short as a half hour and as long as an entire summer. Every week of the summer we have events for our staff for 3 months and culminate that with a huge fish fry for everybody. So there are things you get. We have Employee of the Month, Employee of the Year, Employee of the Week. We have a website internally where we post the photos of our staff. We have a family album that our staff can go to on the intranet of our hospital and look at photographs of them and their coworkers and colleagues that they work with. It doesn't have to and need not be solely based upon income. Or financial reward.
One of our viewers had asked if you would consider sharing any of your policies, and obviously you have. And one area, I wonder, do you give special training to your managers so they are particularly cognizant of maybe folks on, who are just starting in, their entry level, or else they've been there a long, long time and maybe feel underappreciated or underutilized? Do you give your managers special training so that they are more aware and it can...
Well, we do have the eye care culture within our organization. So leaders who come into the organization as new colleagues do go through an orientation program, and the eye care values are part of that program. And overall, we expect our staff to treat our patients, visitors, and others with those eye care values, and our staff has that same expectation of us. And so, in a nutshell, the whole program evolves around the eye care values and the way that we treat one another.
And I think our supervisors and our leadership are trained and have access to communication skills, educational information. Those are easily provided to a workplace. Right. You don't have to have the resources of TMH to do that.
Yeah, in fact, I would argue that some of the most effective recognition practices are the non-monetary ones. Steve mentioned some of them. Some of the other things that I'm seeing a trend with is an increase in peer recognition programs where employees can recognize their colleagues for a job well done, and that doesn't cost anything.
I think that's about all the time we have, and we're certainly appreciative of your participation. Thank you for participating this morning, and I hope that you will pursue your own efforts to have a psychologically healthy workplace, just as Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare has here in Tallahassee, Florida. Thank you for joining us.